We're back, baby. July 8th, 2024. I haven't seen you guys in the last month. What's up? I hope all is well. I'm back. We took a week off, recharged, had some great family time. We're at the beach, caught some waves, did some swimming, did some, mini golfing, and overall just had a great time. Hope everybody had an amazing holiday, had an amazing fourth. Just because I took the week off doesn't mean that our money did. We were still working very diligently in markets as Tesla took off, right? One that I gave analysis on before leaving, and really put the pedal to the metal in just the beginning there for Tesla. We also had Apple come through and pay us. We had Meta come through and pay us. So a number of different positions that came through. Bank of America come through and pay us. We've had banks on watch for a while. We had our analysis set up there. So that's the beautiful thing about markets is that, while they're open, as long as you're in position, you can be making money. It doesn't matter if you're on the beach or you're at the movies or, whatever, right? You're in line at the drive-through, your money can be working for you. And that's the beautiful thing that makes me super proud. So, even while I was out and running around and, not much locked into markets, it was great to get those DMs of people letting me know, hey, right, I executed on this. I'm still executing. I'm doing this and I'm doing so on my own, right? I'm not just getting fed by you. You're teaching me to feed myself. And that's the big thing, within this community. I don't want people reliant on me in order to win. I don't want people reliant on me in order to be able to be effective in markets, right? The goal is that if I go away forever, right, which at some point will happen, because it is tempting whenever you just drop off the face of the earth and you do no social media and you're just out here living life. Every time I go to the beach, I'm like, man, I can live here forever and just not let anybody know that I'm here. Um, so at some point it'll happen. So make sure that you're soaking up that information, that thought process, that mind map, that mindset. Soak that up now so that you can continue to leverage the incredible opportunities the market is providing right now because things are just flowing, and they'll only continue to flow as this AI gold mine, gold rush continues to thrive with all of these companies striving toward the ultimate AI goal, which is what we went over during the Kaizen event. So I'm happy to dive into this week and, get rocky and rolling, get back into the swing of things. I'm a creature of habit, so I love my routine and I missed you guys as well. So I'm happy to be back. Coco, Andrea, Paul, Christine, Detrice, good morning, kings and queens. Let's get after it today as only royalty can, right? So, if you're new here, this is our pre-market prep session. Specifically on Mondays, we have our deluxe session where we go over the game plan for the week. What's happening this week? We've got to lay out the game plan, right? Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Each week in the market is completely different, unlike any week that has ever happened before. New circumstances, new variables at play, new companies rising, new companies falling, new statements being made, new conferences being held, new testimonies being decreed. So, you got to make sure that, especially on Monday, you're locked in for what's going on in terms of the pre-market prep session. That's absolutely key. Very paramount. Um, Now, what we do is we go over the week ahead, then we go over our Monday specific news. So before we dive into that, y'all know the drill. Kaizen, that's the goal. The Japanese philosophy of getting 1% better daily, right? It's not about being infallible, it's about being unstoppable. You're going to have a loss, right? You're going to not win each and every encounter. You have not just in markets, but in life. But the key is that you won't be stopped by that, right? It's to be unstoppable, not to be infallible. We're human. We can't win them all, but we'll make sure that we don't lose, right, by never giving up. So drop those ones in the chat, whether you're watching live or via replay, and let's get into the week ahead news. So Wall Street will have its hands full this week with an eagerly anticipated June consumer price index. That's CPI data. So we got CPI this week, very important, as well as the start of earnings season. The economic calendar will be dominated by the CPI report and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's testimony to Congress. Now, the CPI print is forecast to show a 0.1% month-over-month rise in inflation, while the annual core inflation rate is expected to be unchanged at 3.4%. The spotlight will also be on the second quarter earnings season, which will be kicked off by the top U.S. carrier, Delta Airlines, ticker DAL. in soft drink giant PepsiCo, along with major banks including Citigroup, JP Morgan Chase, and Wells Fargo. As I talked before, as I talked about before, over the course of the past 2 weeks, right? You see people making trades and executing on banks. It's because we've been highlighting banks for the past 2 weeks and the great outlook that banks have. And people within our community are executing on that, right? Whether it be Bank of America, BAC, Citigroup, etc. But banks always kick off earnings season. And a lot of them look very good heading into earnings. Does that mean that they crush it on earnings? No, right? But it does mean that if they do well on earnings, they can really explode because all of them have really, really enticing bullish setups. So Citigroup, whose stock ticker is C, JP Morgan, whose stock ticker is JPM, Wells Fargo. You guys know how I feel about Wells Fargo, but they don't look horrible either. But I'd rather go with anybody else but them. They're going to kick off earnings season, and they're in a position going into earnings season that has incredible bullish potential, right? The setup is there. The charts are there. If they get good news, they can really, really rock it. Um, so yeah, the CPI print again forecast to show 0.1% month over month rise in inflation, while the annual core inflation is expected to be unchanged at 3.4. So the market, we try and extrapolate exactly what we think is going to happen in terms of the market's reaction to data like inflation, right? But we don't really know. We don't know until it happens. So overall, one would naturally think that as long as we are within, expectations, if we do get that 0.1% month over month rise and we do have the overall annual core inflation unchanged, one would think that that would be bullish, right? Or if there's a surprise beat where inflation is less than that, and that's very bullish. And then if inflation comes in hotter, right, let's say it's 0.2% rise month over month and inflation rate annually, like core inflation is 3.6 instead of 3.4, then one would naturally expect that to be bearish. Does it always work out like that? No, right? So that's why it's important to control what you can control, which isn't the data, but number one, the price action going into the data, because a lot of times this price action has gotten leaked, and that price action that we see, that close before the data comes out, oftentimes lends itself to an indication of what that data is going to be, right? So a lot of times before that CPI data is released that next morning, during like the close of the previous day, we can get like a crazy run up. And that's just because everybody in the world is trying to get a leg up and people are illegally leaking information like CPI data so that, rich people can take good positions and position themselves effectively before that data drops. So we could see that this week. So we'll make sure we keep an eye out for price action and execute wherever the charts tell us the probabilities are in our favor. That's why, being involved in the stock options made easy trading group is so great because the charts tell you everything you need to know. And all we do is interpret them, right? So that's why I could go to the beach and still have you guys send me screenshots of 100%, 700%, right? Returns on certain positions, and 700 that would have been 1,000, right? Easily could have been 1,000. So that's why I can go away and still have things go according to plan because it's not my plan, right? It's what the market is showing me is likely to happen. I'm just interpreting that. And that's what makes it easy is that we don't make anything happen ourselves, right? Big money makes it happen. We just ride the wave. In terms of earnings news here this week, no real like household names reporting until Thursday. Thursday we get Delta Airlines, ticker DAL, PepsiCo, ticker PEP, and then Conagra Brands, ticker CAG. Friday we get the banks kicking off. So Citigroup, JP Morgan Chase, and Bank of New York Mellon, BK, and Wells Fargo, all those report on Friday. And if they do well, we could also see sympathy moves in other banks that aren't reporting, like Bank of America or Goldman Sachs. Um, Let's see here. Anything else important this week? In case you missed it, Roaring Kitty sued for pump and dump scheme. It's kind of like the originator of the GameStop squeeze. It was also, unveiled that he took a significant stake in Chewy. It's funny because Chewy was another one that I pointed out. I think I actually pointed out here on a pre-market prep last week, and since then Chewy has exploded. So be here for the pre-market preps, be in the trading group. It's again, it's not by coincidence that you hear me call out names and then those names are involved in news or headlines. These companies have people on payroll that can also read charts. So what do? They hold events, they unveil news, right? All of this stuff they save for when their charts look perfect so that they can pump the charts even more. That's why Apple last week coming out with those announcements, right? That was in line with Apple's technical bullishness on the chart. Everyone is scheming. All you want to do is figure out how to align, put yourself in between the goals of rich people and the goals themselves. And you will always get carried forward by them, right? Same thing with AI. You learn how to do certain things with AI. You put yourself in between people with money and the goals they want to achieve, which is typically more money. So, what does that do? That pushes you along to that same destination of more money. And that's why AI is so valuable now because there's a mad dash from point A to point B. And what I do personally is make sure that I'm positioning myself between point A and point B to say, hey, if you want to get to point B faster or you want to get there at all, you got to pay me, right? Pay me and I'll make it happen for you. And that is honestly just the key to life when it comes to being a human that has to exist, in a closed economy like ours, right? It's got to be where you are constantly providing value and you are putting yourself in position where the forces that are the powers that be, right, are those same forces that are pushing you forward instead of being like, oh, the wealthy just get wealthier. Yeah, they do. And that's not going to change ever. But I can make sure that I'm, hitching my toe to make sure that I'm taking advantage of that as well. And that comes, when it happens with markets or with AI integration and implementation and anything else, right? It's just getting 1% better daily, keeping your ear to the streets and figuring out, okay, I was positioned here, I need to move here. Now I'm catching the wave, right? Or I was positioned there, I need to move here. Nvidia receives rare downgrade as New Street sees it fully valued. Fed minutes policymakers want more favorable data to gain further confidence on inflation. Let's see here. AI chip startup Light Matter hires Nvidia's Jankowski as CFO. Las Vegas Strip casino operators could see earnings boost after the Tropicana and Mirage closures. And then Disney's content slate is seen showing signs of a major turnaround. Yeah, Disney having to pick it up where content is concerned. But that is our outlook there for the week. Let's also check our Market Watch calendar. As always, you can find that at marketwatch.com backslash uh backslash calendar, right? So on Monday, no real important information. Tuesday, we have Powell who's speaking to the Senate, right? Powell is testifying to the Senate this week, to the House this week. So he will be speaking multiple different times. So Tuesday, we have our first big kind of wrench in the week, which is at 10 a.m. Powell is testifying to the Senate. We don't know what he'll say. He'll have to do that testimony, live, and they'll ask him questions and they'll grill him and all this stuff. So that happens tomorrow on Tuesday. So we have an action-packed week. Tuesday, we have Powell testifying to the Senate. Wednesday, we get Powell testifying to the House, also at 10 a.m. And then on Thursday, we get the CPI data. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have three things happening, right? One each day that can move markets. So you've got to be aware of where we are, right? Get that base outlook for the week. Look at the charts and say, okay, overall, where are we right now? Are we bullish? Are we bearish? Right? Okay, from there, what are my levels? Where am I taking profit if we continue to go up? Or where am I closing or re-entering if we turn around and go back down? Right? SPY paid us last week. It's currently bullish. Apple, same thing. Meta, same thing. So all these different tickers, we have our levels. For SPY was 550.12. SPY gets above that 550.12. It's on and popping, and we're pushing. And that's exactly what SPY did. It just kept boom, pushing, pushing, pushing. So yeah, get in an environment where you know what the market is likely to do based off of probabilities, and then just watch out for little wrenches that can be thrown in between. You can't get lazy. right? That's what these sessions are all about. Us putting in the extra 20 minutes to not be lazy, know what's happening in markets, and know how to adjust accordingly. And SPY smashed our price target number one. So great profit taking there. Friday, July 12th, we get PPI data, right? CPI is consumer price index, PPI is producer price index. So CPI measures inflation, right? The rise in the cost of goods for consumers. And then PPI measures that for producers, right? So companies that produce things, how has inflation affected them? We also get consumer sentiment on Friday as well. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we got stuff happening, right? We've got a packed schedule this week, and that's important to be aware of so that each and every day going into it, you can have that affect how you're managing your positions, right? Because you know, Powell's speaking at 10 a.m. and he could say whatever, right? Today and tomorrow. And then we've got big data Thursday. So anything you swing from Wednesday into Thursday, you need to know that we got CPI data coming out on Thursday, and that can rip us up or tear us down or do nothing, right? So that just affects the how you manage your positions in terms of size, right? Maybe you don't swing as many of a position and you take profit instead because we have that data coming up. All that plays a role into how you play this week, and that's why these Monday sessions here are so important. Going into our more Monday specific news here, top news content is king. A new chapter is opening for Paramount Global following several drama filled twists that saw it finally agree to a merger with David Ellison's Skydance Media. It's a complex transaction, see the data below, but there are hopes that it can resurrect a Hollywood icon that has erased about 70% of its market value following the recombination of Viacom and CBS in 2019. The company was later rebranded Paramount Global, but has since experienced cash troubles with its streaming business, Paramount Plus, suffered a decline in linear TV, and saw S&P Global downgrade its debt to junk status. Snapshot, Sony Pictures, and Apollo, ticker APO, have also been after the company, as well as IAC chair Barry Diller. There have been serious M&A tensions along the way, which resulted in the April ouster of Paramount CEO Bob Bakish, who was quickly replaced by an office of the CEO led by three division chiefs. So essentially, that's what it means whenever they say office of the CEO. Is just there's multiple, multiple different people that are operating in that CEO role, and in this case, is three different division chiefs. However, the upcoming deal will bring together old and new Hollywood with the end of the road for the Redstone dynasty and the rise of the Ellison era after big hits like Top Gun Maverick and The Reacher. Paramount and Skydance have even worked together in the past, co-producing films like Terminator, Transformers, and the Mission Impossible franchises. Given the changes in the industry, this is a quote, by the way, given the changes in the industry, we want to fortify Paramount for the future while ensuring that content remains king, Sherry Redstone declared, echoing a call from her father and family patriarch, Sumner Redstone. Our hope is that the Skydance transaction will enable Paramount's continued success in this rapidly changing environment, as well as longtime production partner to Paramount. Skydance knows Paramount well and has a clear strategic vision and the resources to take it to the next stage of growth. We believe in Paramount and we always will. Now, in terms of the fine print, the two-step deal would initially see Skydance and its partners acquire National Amusements, which holds the Redstone family's controlling stake in Paramount for $2.4 billion in cash. The next step will merge Skydance and Paramount, offering a total of $4.5 billion or $23 in cash or stocks Class A voting shares, and $15 to the non-voting Class B shares. Oh, wow, this is all just logistical stuff about the deal and everything. I mean, I'm over kind of hearing about Paramount. I feel like we've been hearing about Paramount being bought, not being bought, the deal falling through, right? The deal working out. I'm not, kind of focused or really concerned with Paramount, to be completely honest. I'm pulling up the chart now. We can see kind of what it's looking like. Um, let's see if there's anything interesting. Yeah, I mean, been consistently downtrending over the course of the past few years. Might be a monthly falling wedge. I know the only thing that looks kind of interesting maybe on the hourly is if we get an hourly close above, what level is this? 1248. If we can get an hourly close above 1248 above, on Paramount, then we can push, we can fire an hourly bull flag. on Paramount, and Paramount could push from there, but we need that close above 1248. Paramount gapped up on the news and then it sold back down to fill that gap as we're headed into open. So, you can set that level 1248 on Paramount, set an alert, and then check it out from there. And that's, kind of the only thing I see in terms of opportunity. There would be like shorter term on this hourly bull flag. So let's see here. Cross above. There we go. So setting an alert there at that 1248 level. Now, global news, left, right, and center. France is set for unprecedented political uncertainty as the new Popular Front emerged as the surprise winner of legislative elections, securing more seats than President Emmanuel Macron's Ensemble Alliance and Marine Le Pen's National Rally. But with no side securing a majority, modern France will see its first parliament without a dominant party. Traders appear to have played down the uncertainty with the CAC 40 index reversing earlier losses to rise nearly 1%. As the three groups have widely differing agendas when it comes to issues ranging from taxes to immigration, it's unclear how they will move forward to form a government. Yeah, there's a lot of government uncertainty right now. Which I feel like only adds to the murky outlook globally because you've got this rise of AI and you've got a ton of government uncertainty that's happening all around the world, right? I don't think many people are too enthused about the two guys that we have competing for public office here, as the most powerful man in the free world. And all around the world, I don't think people are very enthused with their options. And you're seeing a lot of power being split and a lot of reversals and a lot of shifting of paradigms. So we're just in a crazy time right now, but I'm glad we're staying on top of it here each and every day via these sessions. Now, M&A news: beverage giant, third time's the charm. London listed soft drinks maker Britvic has agreed to a takeover by Danish brewer called Carlsberg, creating a beverage giant with a strong platform for continued success. The move will help Carlsberg diversify outside the beer market with an expansion to non-alcoholic beverages. The Sweden's takeover bid was valued at 3.28 billion euros after Britvic rejected two earlier offers that it deemed to be too low. The new combination will also involve PepsiCo, given its long-running arrangements with Britvic over production and sales in the UK. Not really caring too much personally about that news update. Aviation plane making felon. Can anybody guess who this is about? BA for 500, Alex. Boeing, ticker BA, has agreed to plead guilty to a criminal conspiracy charge to defraud the U.S. government after the DOJ found that it violated a settlement over two fatal 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019. The plane maker will face the maximum fine for the offense, or $487.2 million dollars, and will be required to invest $455 million to strengthen its compliance and safety programs. Victim's family said the plea deal, which will avoid the courtroom, courtroom, fails to hold going accountable. Oh, so it fails to hold them accountable for the deaths of 346 people killed in the crashes. Yeah, so they're not happy, the victims of, the family of the victims. Legal experts also believe the plea may not affect Boeing's defense contracts, as the Pentagon is highly dependent on the company. It's the only reason why Boeing is still in existence. No other company is going to get away with killing 346 people outright. I mean, just outright causing the death, because we know plenty of companies cause the death of, millions of people worldwide. You look at like McDonald's or Philip Morris with cigarettes, or like tons of other companies, right? They're directly or indirectly responsible, but like literally your product failed and hundreds of people died instantaneously. No other company is escaping that, right? We saw Waymo from Google kind of break down just from one fatal car crash. And Boeing's got 346 bodies under its belt, like at once, which is wild. Today's markets, mixed bag. Let's see where we are with SPY. We're green, it looks like, across the board. So not big green, but slight green as opposed to the flat slash red that we saw earlier. What else is happening? We'll finish up here with our rapid fire stock news rundown. Tropical storm Beryl shutters oil exporting hub in Texas. Despicable Me 4 leads box office sales with $75 million weekend haul. Visa, ticker V, MasterCard, ticker MA, extend caps on non-EU card fees. Apple clears Epic Games Marketplace app in Europe. AI boom, Google's emissions jumped by nearly half in 5 years. We've talked about that in Kaizen, right? There's so much that's happening right now and so many places to invest when it comes to this AI boom. You just got to put yourself in position, right? Don't miss out. ConocoPhillips, ticker COP, sues to stop Biden to ban excuse me, COP, ConocoPhillips sues to stop Biden plan to ban Arctic drilling. BNP Paribas rise in jobless rate may prompt call for 2 rate cuts. And then will Rivian ever land an AI premium like Tesla? Probably not. So that'll wrap us up. Put a bow on it this morning as we get back into the swing of things. I love it. I love being here. I love being back. I love being with you guys and executing in markets. I was happy to see everybody that's executing last week. It was a beautiful, big money making week. We had a ton of setups coming into the week. They paid. They played out, and we're looking to continue to execute this week. Let's remain patient, get 1% better daily, and close the gap between where we are and where we want to be. All right, everybody. I'll see you back here tomorrow for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good rest of the day. Peace.